If you suffer from galeophobia, the fear of sharks, then you're gonna want to go do something else. This educational experience is definitely not for you. And why is that? Well, we're about to focus on some pretty huge sea creatures. From a 20-foot great white shark to slash the shark with a bad attitude, here are 15 of the biggest sharks in the world ever recorded. Number 15. Fort Lauderdale, Florida, 13-foot hammerhead shark. When you go fishing on a pier, you might expect to catch a small fish or two to feed your family for dinner. What you don't expect is for a 13-foot hammerhead shark to launch itself onto your fishing pole. A family was having a lovely day at the beach in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, when they watched two people with a fishing pole struggle with what seemed like a giant fish off the pier. But it was no large fish, it was an enormous shark. What's unique about this situation is that the shark was hooked from a pier hundreds of feet from the beach. Rarely do large hammerheads explore shallow areas of a beach. An angler and Ryan Bolash, who is the creator of the YouTube channel Infinity Fishing Team, acted quickly to cut the wire dangling from the hook in the shark's mouth. By doing so, they gave the shark a chance of survival. This was essential given that hammerhead shark numbers are in decline. Ryan said the best thing to do is to bring them out of the water and back into it in under 2 minutes. That, he said, takes a lot of experience. Before we go on, like this video, smash the subscribe button and click the notification bell right now, or Slenderman will come from under your bed while you're sleeping. Number 14. Great white shark seen near Hawaii. Seeing a great white shark of any size can put the fear of God in you. After all, you only need to watch the movie Jaws to know what they are capable of. Still, there's something quite exciting about being able to say you've seen the largest ever recorded great white shark in person. That is exactly what some divers got to say. People diving near Oahu, a Hawaiian island, were able to capture photographs of the great white shark that is the nickname of Deep Blue. The 2.5-ton shark is thought to be around 50 years old. It has been tagged by scientists more than 20 years ago after it had been spotted off the coast of Mexico. The divers, Mark Moeller and Kimberly Jeffries, had seen Deep Blue eating a dead sperm whale and were able to swim alongside it while it ate. We're not sure if that's brave or a bit stupid, really. They were also able to capture video of it feasting on the whale, which happened after tiger sharks made the initial whale discovery. As you can imagine, they made a quick departure after spotting the giant great white shark. Number 13. 20-foot tiger shark in Australia. Tiger sharks may not be the largest sharks in the world, but they are certainly some of the most aggressive. They're responsible for an alarming number of attacks, only coming second to the great white shark. So you probably don't have a lot of sympathy for the 19.68-foot tiger shark caught off 7 Mile Beach near Lennox Head on the New South Wales northern coast of Australia. Fishermen caught the shark by boat, and Jeff Brooks posted images of it online. According to Jeff, the shark was purposefully caught under a kill order. Apparently, it had been responsible for a local attack. Most tiger sharks grow up to 13 feet long and 1,400 pounds. Larger females can even weigh up to 2,000 pounds. There have also been cases of people hauling in 24-foot tiger sharks, but very few exceed 20 feet. Perhaps what makes tiger sharks more prone to human attacks than other sharks is that they aren't fussy. They have the widest food spectrum of all sharks. They dine on fish, seals, crustaceans, dolphins, squid, and even birds. However, due to fishing by humans and finning, they are a nearly threatened species. Number 12. 1,300-pound Mako Shark. It seems that the winning recipe for hauling in that giant catch is chopped mackerel and ground chum. Or so 4 fishermen say who caught a 1,323-pound Mako Shark off the coast of Huntington Beach in 2013.
Deep blue is a very large, big female shark.
The fishing boat's captain, Matt Potter, owns a store called Mako Matt's Marine, and he and his friends go sport shark fishing many times throughout the year. They were on the final day of a 3-day trip when they spotted the fins of what looked like a Mako Shark. Then, the struggle ensued. The fishermen spent around 2.5 hours bringing in the massive shark on giant hooks. One of the fishermen, Jason Johnston, harness hooked himself to the boat and shark, and Frankie Milanazzo tied the shark to the side of the boat. Scripps Institution of Oceanography Fisheries research biologist Nick Wegner said the shark would likely set a new angling record. He had heard of 1,400 to 1,500 pound Mako sharks being harpooned, but not any in this way, so close to shore. The men took the shark to a processing plant to weigh it and put it in the freezer. It would be used for research. Number 11. Great white sharks off Nova Scotia coast. 2 huge great white sharks were discovered by American researchers off the coast of Nova Scotia in late 2019. The first was a 13-foot great white, which appeared to have been savagely attacked by something even larger. The shark, which they named Vimy, had clearly been in a scuffle of some sort. US-based OCEARCH founding chairman Chris Fisher said the shark was covered in scars with a fresh wound along its head. He said that while the shark was the biggest they had caught, it was clear it was not the biggest out there. They believe what bit Vimy would have been at least 13 feet. Chris believes another male shark fighting for a mate may be to blame. Otherwise, it could be a larger female who didn't want to mate. Alongside Vimy, researchers also caught a 15.4-foot shark, which they called Unamaki. This shark was also up there in size. She was the second largest they had ever caught, only beaten by Mary Lee, a shark they had found in Cape Cod. Unamaki appeared to be in far better shape than Vimy, that's for sure. Number 10. Great white shark caught in Mexico. There's only one word to describe a great white shark, and to us, it's terrifying. They are a large mackerel shark found in coastal waters in most oceans. They quite often grow up to 20 feet long and can even weigh up to 5,000 pounds. That's about a third as heavy as a T-Rex. These sharks can live for around 70 years, which makes them the longest living cartilaginous fish. However, they take 26 years to reach maturity, and females are 33 before they're ready to produce young. But young or old, they are scary to see in person, especially if you come across them accidentally. 2 fishermen in Mexico learned this firsthand when they accidentally caught a 2,000-pound, 20-foot great white in their fishing net. They were fishing in the Sea of Cortez off Sonora State when they made their discovery. Fortunately for them, the shark was dead. Otherwise, it would likely have overpowered them and their boat. And who knows what would have happened next? They aren't likely to forget this fishing experience in a hurry, that's for sure. Number 9. Teenage shark named in top 5 legendary sharks. In 1983, Alberton fisherman David McKendrick was fishing off Prince Edward Island when he made a shocking discovery.
You look like I'm trying to get in the door.
He had just caught a 17-foot great white shark in his net. By the time he pulled it to the surface, he had realized the ginormous creature was dead. Roll the clock forward 3 decades and you may be wondering why this shark is still being talked about. Well, according to Warren Joyce from the Canadian Shark Research Laboratory in Bedford, it's one of 2 of the largest measured sharks in the world. The female shark was a mere teenager of 19 years old when it was caught, which meant its size was phenomenal. As a result, it has been named one of the Discovery Channel's top 5 legendary sharks. Not only was the size of this shark surprising, but the location in which it was found was too. There usually are only reports in the area of great white sharks every 2 to 3 years. In 130 years, there have been only a few dozen recorded instances of great whites in the area. Number 8. The Monster of Kohimar. In 1945, fishermen around Kohimar were convinced that something massive was lurking in the waters around the north coast of Cuba. In fact, they were sure it was a giant sea monster. They had been noticing that their entire floating fishing rigs were going missing, which was not only expensive but frustrating. That wasn't all either. Sometimes they were only pulling in hooked heads with the entire bodies of their catches missing, and those same fish, if they had been intact, would weigh over 500 pounds. So what was taking their fish? Jose Hernandez and Juan Yuca, 2 fishermen, noticed a huge shadow in the water around them and a massive wake that was following their line. It was like a suspenseful scene in a horror movie. It was then that they decided they had to catch this monster. It had caused enough frustration. As it turns out, the sea monster that had been stealing all the fish was a great white shark, the swaggering bully of the deep. This one in particular was bigger than most. When they eventually managed to catch the shark, it weighed 7,100 pounds and measured over 21 feet long. Given that fishing boats of the 1940s were only around 18 feet long, or a few select cruisers up to 38 feet, the shark would prove to be a huge menace and danger if left. So, as they had to, they took care of the problem. Number 7. Slash the Shark. In 2013, a special shark called Slash was the poster boy for Discovery Channel's Shark Week, which well and truly put New Zealand on the map. Slash is a 16.4-foot great white shark with a bad attitude and a giant gash around his mouth. According to the Shark Week documentary creators, he is a local legend. The huge shark didn't get his name by accident either. The Department of Conservation and NIWA, the National Institute of Water and Atmospheric Research, had attempted to tag the shark to track its movements. Needless to say, the task was botched, and Slash now bears the scars. Eventually, these will heal. Believe it or not, Stewart Island in New Zealand has some of the largest and most aggressive great whites on the planet, along with Fiordland and the Chathams. Hundreds of them migrate to the area during the summer, then head towards the tropics for winter. Surprisingly, given the large population of sharks in the area, the country sees very few attacks. There have been 2 fatalities in the past 2 decades, and 115 recorded attacks since the 1800s. Number 6. Monster Great White Shark. One of the biggest sharks in the world ever recorded was a 20-foot, 8-inch great white shark captured by Vic Hislop in 1987. If you're a shark enthusiast and the name Vic Hislop sounds familiar, then there's a reason for that. Vic, who hails from Stanthorpe, Queensland in Australia, was a shark hunter. The world understands that sharks are an essential part of the ocean's ecology, but Vic had other ideas. He said that sharks were God's mistake and that it was his mission to kill them and correct that mistake. Vic has also claimed that the Australian government has covered up fatal shark attacks by recording them as drownings. He believes that it did so to protect the country's tourism. Vic said at least 100 swimmers disappear every year and their bodies are never found. Many have been eaten. I've often caught sharks and removed human hands and feet from their stomachs. I even found a human foot still in its sandal. While he supports the protection of whale sharks, sand tiger sharks, and other harmless species, he's definitely not that forgiving with the like of great whites. Number 5. Great White Shark in Kangaroo Island. In 1987, shark lovers in Australia were blown away to discover that one of the largest sharks in the world ever recorded was on their own shores. A great white shark was captured near Australia's Kangaroo Island, and it was thought to be at least 23 feet long. In saying that, there have been a lot of arguments around this measurement since that day. A shark expert by the name of J.E. Randall suggested that the shark was between 19 and 21 feet long, but I.K. Ferguson said it was between 17 and 19 feet long. So, what was it? A team of scientists decided to get to the bottom of it. They reviewed the case information relating to the find and conducted a morphometric analysis of the shark remains and photographic evidence. Their goal was to validate the original measurements. What they found was reasonably consistent with that first record. In all likelihood, the Kangaroo Island great white shark really was 23 feet long. Which wouldn't be surprising. It's a well-known fact that great white sharks live around Australia and New Zealand. They will seek out the warmer waters depending on what time of the year it is. Number 4. Malta Shark. Shark experts always find themselves in arguments. The ocean has so many mysteries that it can be hard to prove or disprove anyone's theories. But when it comes to a task that's as easy as measuring something, it shouldn't be that hard, should it? Apparently, it is. Because a shark caught in Malta is still being argued about decades later. In 1987, Alfredo Kudahar captured a great white shark off the coast of Filfla in Malta. He measured it at 23.7 feet long and with a weight of 6,349 pounds. When he and John Abela were interviewed about their shark in the mid-1990s for a documentary called Jaws in the Mediterranean, their story changed. All of a sudden, the shark was 23 feet long. John confirmed that too. They said they had laid the shark on the floor and measured it twice, and that it was 23 feet in length. But according to Isabel Mate and Joan Barrel, two Spanish shark researchers, the jaw of the shark showed that it would have been between 21.92 feet and 22.34 feet. All these years later, those numbers continue to be disputed. Shark experts have pored over the records and are yet to agree. What's more, a book by Richard Ellis and John E. McCosker called The Great White Shark discounts the fishermen's claims. Number 3. Ledge Point Shark. One of the largest sharks ever recorded in the world was near Ledge Point in Western Australia in 1987. The shark was 19.7 feet, and the confirmation of its title as one of the largest comes from shark expert J.E. Randall and an American ichthyologist and coral reef fishes leading authority. Ledge Point is a coastal township north of Perth. It services the local crayfishing and fishing industries, and is a well-known windsurfing venue too. But you may not be in too much of a hurry to dip your feet in the water if you knew there was a nearly 20-foot shark lurking beneath the surface. While the discovery of the enormous shark was decades ago, that doesn't make the threat of other sharks any less relevant. In fact, the Ledge Point shark find location is just 12.5 miles south of where a great white shark attack happened in 2012. Surfer Ben Linden was paddling his surfboard when the 16.4-foot shark attacked in the ocean off Wedge Island. According to the fisheries minister, Norman Moore, it could have been in the area for days leading up to the attack. Number 2. The Marino Bay Shark. Australia seems to have a run of bad luck, or good luck depending on how you look at it, when it comes to giant sharks. In 2016, a huge shark was spotted 300 feet from the shore of Marino Bay in South Australia. According to the Australian crew who photographed it, it might even be one of the largest that has ever been seen before. Photos of the shark were uploaded to the Shark Alert South Australia Facebook page. The organization said that the Shark Patrol helicopter crew used their jet boat to make a comparison to the shark. They believe it was at least 23 feet long. Of course, without a measuring tape though, people are skeptical. James Cook University Marine Sciences professor Colin Simpfendorfer said measuring from photos is difficult. You can, of course, get a sense of its size, but there was nothing in the picture of the water to use as a reference. However, Shark Alert South Australia left a comment that said the guys were professionals, so they have full confidence that the shark is of the length they said it was. They believe it was the biggest they had ever seen. Number 1. 1,000-pound tiger shark. Tiger sharks typically range in size between 10 feet 8 inches to 13 feet 11 inches. They also usually weigh between 849 pounds to 1,400 pounds. So imagine any shark lover's delight to come across one at the pointy end of those measurements. You would be both excited and terrified at the same time. A YouTuber by the name of Black Tip H was bottom fishing in the Bahamas around the old Bahama Bay Resort when he used his Shimano Tiagra 130 to hook a tiger shark. He estimated that it was about 14 feet long and nearly 1,000 pounds. The fisherman had started his day of fishing in front of the resort where he caught a yellow eye snapper. He then decided to travel north to go wahoo fishing, but the oceans were too rough. So he decided to check out the shallow water and see what he could come up with. He first hooked a reef shark, but out of nowhere came a tiger shark. It swam to the boat and took the reef shark directly off his fishing line. If you're now wide-eyed, on edge, and as white as a ghost, we don't blame you. Some of these sharks were not only enormous, but terrifying to look at too. Have you ever seen a shark in real life? If so, how big was it? Also, check out our other cool stuff showing up on screen right now. See you next time!